So it was a win-win. I mean, it'd be crazy for me to say that what Khalil has done since he's gotten here isn't absolutely beyond being special. I mean, the guy, he's a game wrecker, and he's a multiplier. He's everything that we look for in a playmaker, and he makes us a much better team. What do you think?
Man, when a game does hold like a special significance for a guy like Khalil Sunday against
Right.
He downplayed it, of course, yesterday.
Right.
Is that something you ever think about or maybe bring up when you know that this is going to be really meaningful for a guy like that?
I understand the question. We don't. I don't. A lot of that stuff, I think then it gets into the personal side. You start making a little bit bigger the why part of, okay, this is about somebody, person A versus team B. And that's not, I know that's the last thing that Khalil's thinking right now. He's going to continue to just keep dominating the way he has. No different in this game. There's a storyline to it for sure, and that makes for a good week of stories. But for the most part, I think there's a mutual respect between everybody, and I know Khalil completely respects that organization and is going to just come out and do everything he can to help us win the game.
For you personally, in your role, what are the biggest logistical challenges of this trip and this week?
There's a lot. There's a lot, Dan, and I think for there's the nice thing for me. Going through this several years ago in Kansas City when we played Detroit, you're an assistant coach and you don't know everything that goes into it and you take it for granted. And now just going through our support staff and understanding that, okay, so we're going on Thursday evening and there's so many things that just as simple as the time change. What do you do when you're on the airplane? How does your body react when you leave a few days prior? What do you do when you get there? How does your mind act to the sleep, no sleep? And then when you're there, there's distractions, right? And that's the one thing that I think over the years there's been some things that have distracted teams, and that's my job is prevention, is making sure that I'm on top of all of that and we are on top of all that. And so far, I feel really good with the way we've handled that stuff.
How will you personally use the flight time?
I'll be sleeping. Yeah, I'll be out. Yeah.
How's Paul Nicholson on his progression?
I think he's doing pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I have haven't heard a whole lot of change other than that no news is good news. I think one of those deals, but I feel good about him.
Man, how about most about Montgomery so far?
Yeah, he's again, I go back to training camp when he was so anxious to get that football and want that football, and now he's getting it, and we understand numbers wise, statistically and everything, that the numbers aren't there running for 100 yards or let alone 220 like some of these guys are, and he wants that. So I like his ambition to want to be great, but there's zero frustration from him, which could happen sometimes. He understands that we're going through this process and we're going to get it figured out, and he's just very patient. So the way he plays the game, the way he attacks it in meetings, nothing's changed from the very first day he's gotten here.
Matt, you guys have had
another guy from the locker room over the week. Never been to Europe, never been to London.
Yeah.
But he just got his passport. So I know it's strictly a business trip, but will you take some time to do something out of the ordinary while you are there with these guys?
Yeah, and that's a part of what I was saying earlier is as long as you have control over what that is and when you do it, there's going to be some time for them to, and for all of us, to be able to just get away, enjoy while you're there. There's some of that to it, but make sure that the majority of the balance is there for one reason, and it's not for a vacation. It's there to win the game, and so you can't be so strict to where you just you prevent them from doing anything where they can relax, and it's all about the game all the time, because that's not what it's like when they're home here. So enjoy some time that you get. Be smart. Be responsible. And if you do that, you'll show us how how you are mentally in practice, and then you'll prove it on game day.
With the way the defense is playing, how do you balance your kind of desire to have an impact on those defensive players with still wanting to give Pagano the autonomy to just do his thing?
So, how much am I involved?
That's really, you want to have your hand on this defense or imprint on it as part of the team, but yet still let.
So the way I look at that, Mark, is I look at it as not the unit part, the defense. I look at it as the whole team element. So when I'm talking to those guys, or I go in there and talk to them, or I'm out of practice with them, I'm not worried about that. That's Chuck's defense. I get that. That's not my defense. That's Chuck's defense. It's our defense, but Chuck's running that thing. So he's doing some really good things right now. That is on the undercard of this whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of good there's a lot of good things going on with that defense, and so I don't want to mess with that too much. Keep me out of it and let me just oversee it and be there for any advice for big picture stuff.
What they're doing, and from a human nature standpoint, does that motivate you that much more to get the offense going?
Yeah, heck yeah. Because if we get the offense going with that defense and the way our special teams is playing right now, we're going to be a tough team to beat. We're trying to find where we're at with that offense. That's but we're staying positive throughout that whole thing. And so, as long as we can get those steady incremental improvements, each week, and we feel with who we have and what we have going on with defense and special teams, it could be it could be good. But there's steps to that offensively for us right now. It's just real.
Now, we're a month into the season here. You've already dealt with the quarterback injury. You have the kicker stuff. You have injuries to Pro Bowl players. Personally, was there anything last year that helped you with this chunk this year? Because it seems like there's